One of the problems remaining, and a difficult one, is what exactly is the relationship between working memory and long-term memory? Well, I think it is the case that working memory is very important for episodic memory, the capacity to encode and remember and retrieve specific experiences, because of course it's important for experience through the episodic buffer. There are, of course, other aspects of long-term memory, sometimes known as implicit or non-declarative. There are a whole lot of things that don't actually involve going through working memory directly, things like acquiring skills, conditioning, acquiring preferences for one thing or another, that quite possibly operate independently of working memory. I sometimes think of the distinction as being the things that amnesics can and can't do. So amnesics are absolutely terrible at recollecting what they did this morning or updating their semantic memory. Who's the president at the moment? They won't know. Who's the current sports star? They won't know. But what they can do is to learn skills. They can be conditioned so that whenever you play a tone, an eye puff will come and they will close their eye in anticipation, but not actually remember why they did that. So I think there are aspects of long-term memory that probably run parallel and don't depend on working memory. So the question arises, does everything that goes into episodic memory, which is the sort of memory that allows you to recollect individual experiences, does everything go through working memory? My current prejudice, if you like, is to say yes, if it's recording an experience, because experience depends on the episodic buffer. Now, you don't have to experience something to learn about it. Motor skills and so forth are not typically learned at the explicit level. You don't remember the rules for riding a bicycle. You don't say, well, I press my foot. No, you just do it. And sometimes, with some skills, you probably do them better when you're not thinking about them. So things certainly get into long-term memory, but my current hypothesis, if you like, is that if it's episodic memory, then it has to go through working memory. So coming back to the issue of what the relationship is between long-term memory and working memory, I think the answer to this is complex, because working memory and long-term memory are both complex and they interact in a number of different ways. But certainly they are very important for each other. Now, what I don't think is useful is the claim sometimes made that working memory is just activated long-term memory. That seems to me no more helpful than saying that language is just activated long-term memory. Of course, without long-term memory, we wouldn't have language. But simply saying it's activated long-term memory tells you nothing. So the way to go, I think, is to investigate the ways, and not just one way, in which working memory impacts on long-term memory and vice versa. And of course, that's what we've been doing in our, many of our experiments. The ones that looked at how interfering with working memory influenced long-term memory. The ones looking at how what we already know influences what we hold in working memory. So lots of questions, no simple answers, but I think certainly tractable.